and not too far from here, there was a village. In that village, there lived an old man with 3 sons. The 2 eldest were decent lads, had their wits about them, but the youngest, whose real name was Ivan, was known merely as the Fool. He was so simple. I heard he went fishing the other day. He tried to kill his catch by drowning it. Well, the old man, unfortunately, he was dying. And the time came when he passed on, and he left his inheritance to his 3 sons. The 2 eldest sons got the money in the house, but the youngest, he couldn't be trusted, so all he got was 1 ox. Time passed, and they decided it was time to go to the marketplace and trade their wares. So, they went off, and Ivan, not wanting to be left out, he went along with them. On the path to the market, there's a birch tree, which creaks in the wind, and that day, it was very windy. So Ivan walked past the birch tree and heard it creaking. And he thought that the birch tree was trying to bargain for his ox. And he said, "Birch tree, I want no less than £20 if you want to buy it." The birch tree was just creaking, and the wind rustled through the leaves. And Ivan thought, oh, perhaps he's saying he wants it on credit. All right, I'll give you my ox, but I want the £20 tomorrow, no later. So he ties his ox to the tree, he goes back home to his brothers, and they say, "So, what did you do with your ox?" "Found a buyer for it." He went back the next day, and he went back to the birch tree, but the ox, he was gone, eaten by the wolves in the night. They're not going to say no to a free meal. So, the wind is still blowing, and the wind is rustling through the leaves. And Ivan says, "You're saying the same thing you said yesterday." "Won't give you another day." "All right, I'll give you another day." "But if you don't have my money by tomorrow, you're going to be sorry." So he goes back home, and the brothers say, So, where's the money?" And he says, "The birch tree is going to give it tomorrow." "Sorry, birch tree." And they say, "That's a fool for you." So he goes back the next morning, but this time with an axe. And he says, "Birch tree, you got my money." But the wind isn't blowing today. Not a sound, not a breeze. And Ivan, he says, you better have it. You better have it. Nothing. So he picks up his axe and he hacks at the tree, but little did he know that only a few weeks ago some robbers had been passing through the village, running from the police with their loot. And to get rid of it, they hid it in the hollow of this birch tree. And so when he cracked it open, gold started pouring out. Ivan apologized to the tree. So sorry, he should have believed him. And he starts trying to get as much gold as he can. But there's too much. It's too much. He runs home. And the brothers, they say, "Ivan, where did you get all this money?" And he says, "It's my payment from the tree." Is that everything? And he tells them that there's much more. So, we could help you bring back the gold. So they go back to the birch tree, and they collect up as much as they can. There's so much, they still can't bring all of it. But they kept as much as they can, and they walk back home. And on the way, they see the village priest. And the priest says, "Hello, boys. What are you up to?" And the brothers, they quickly look at each other. "We're collecting mushrooms." "Mushrooms?" And Ivan, he looks at his brothers and he says, "Don't be silly. Don't lie to our priest. We've got gold." The priest's eyes flash with greed. He starts rubbing his hands, thinking of all the things he could do with that money, and in the run of his thoughts, he pounces on the boys, and he starts attacking them and trying to steal their gold, but Ivan picks up his axe and whacks them on the head. The priest isn't breathing. There's not a heartbeat. And the elder brothers, they start panicking. They pick him up by the wrist, they pick him up by the ankles, and they drag him home through the door, over the threshold, down the stairs, and into their cell. Late that night, the brothers, they whisper to each other. Of course, Ivan is sleeping, and they say, "We've got to do something about it. We've killed the village priest, and our brother, he's a fool, he's going to say something." So when the night is at its darkest, they take the priest back out, up the stairs, over the threshold, out the door, and into a faraway field, and they dig him a grave. On the way back, they see a goat. They slaughter the goat. They pick it up by the hooves. They drag it through the door, over the threshold, into the cellar. A few days pass. Everyone's wondering where the priest has gone. Have you seen him about? Maybe he's in another town or something. Sunday comes, he's still not there. Maybe he's giving a sermon at another church. A few weeks passed. Still haven't seen the priest anywhere. But Ivan hears all this gossip and he says, "Do you know, I killed the priest the other day." And they all look at the fool and they say, "You wouldn't know one end of an axe from the other. How can you kill our priest?" And he says, I'll show you. So he brings them to his house, through the door, over the threshold, downstairs and into the cellar. And Ivan is standing at the top of the stairs. And the villagers, they all look down. And they say, "Ivan, did our priest have grey hair?" "Yes, yeah, I think he did." And they ask up again, "Ivan, did our priest have brown eyes?" And he says, yeah, I think he did." And they call out one more time, "Ivan, did our priest have a beard?" And he says, yeah, I think he did. The villagers, they look at each other. They sigh and they say, "In our village, a fool will always be a